Stop right there. Yeah, you. If you like all things entertainment, current events, or Hollywood, then look no further. Creator to Creators, hosted by director Meosha Bean of Horror Noir, interviews filmmakers and creatives from around the world. Join in on the fun, guest celebrities, and informative information to have as a creator. Hit subscribe and stay connected to Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest.
Johnny P, pushing every day.
Welcome, welcome.
Hey, appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, I always like to go to the beginning, and I always say that childhood always kind of shows the direction of where we're going to be going in our life, like our little habits, the things that we do. So, tell me a little bit about your childhood, and how did you kind of find your way into music?
Well, as far as my childhood goes, I grew up in East Nashville, um, born and raised, and just growing up in that environment in that community, with both of my parents being a middle brother, um, I was always surrounded by music. You know what I mean? Everywhere I went. From the time I woke up, in the car, or even going to like my granny's house, to swim. She had a pool, you know what I mean. So she would always play, Sade, Anita Baker, at an early age, even before I realized who these people were. You know what I mean. My brother would be playing different music. My older brother, Bone Thugs and Harmony, all the way to Coldplay. You know what I mean?
Nice.
So I would get exposed to a lot. Of course, my parents played that older music as well. Marvin Gaye, of course, Michael Jackson, those type of artists. So I've always been exposed to real music. You know what I mean? Jaheim, Usher, the
Oh,
list
wow.
goes on and on. Yeah.
That's awesome. So it's a very musical household, basically.
Very, and get my gospel on Sundays. So, you know,
That's cool. And when did you like know? I mean, for me, um, it was one summer I watched this. I rented the Alfred Hitchcock series, at the library when I was like 15, turning 16 years old.
right.
And after watching it, I knew I wanted to be a film director. I was like, I want to make horror movies like this guy. Like it's something sparked in me. Was there something that, you like innately like was something like I don't know, a song, or you just kind of felt like, you know what, I want to do this. Like what was that?
I mean, that really, I would say that happened around the same my teen years, similar to like you said, around 15 and 16, maybe even a few years before that. But just seeing um as a teenager, seeing this footage of, Michael Jackson, singing "Rock with You," you know what I mean? And just the
Mm-hmm.
feeling of and the vibe, and getting that special feeling where it hits. It's like it's spiritual, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that it just resonated with me. And I knew at that point, I'm like, man, I want to make people feel like that, but in my own way, and I
Yeah.
even before I could, I had, the before the development and everything of my artistry, I always had a special passion for music. But Michael Jackson and Rock With You would probably be my first uh experience like that, and also Usher My Way. When that
Oh
video came
yeah,
out,
that was a good one.
I'm like, man, I have to do that. So yeah, those moments stick out. I
Yeah.
remember I spent my first check on the Usher on Usher My Way single. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, those moments, you bringing back memories though. So that's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. I think that's awesome. So, okay, so the music. So what was the first thing like where that did you say, oh, like how did you start your way into it? Like did you just start writing? Did you go to a studio? Did you just like team up with people? Like what was the first like initial like, okay, be- like getting into the music and trying like different things?
Yeah, the first step, I would say, we were riding in the car, me, my mom, my pops, and me and my younger brother, and like we were singing like to the radio. I'm older now, I'm like 16, 17. No, I'm older than that. I'm about 17 years old, and I started singing to the radio, and he whispered to me like, bro, you can really sing. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, you should really do this. And I'm like, I never thought about it because I used to be ashamed to. I always like to do it by myself, but I would be ashamed to do it in school and things like that. It wasn't cool
Ah, I
to,
see.
be singing. But skip maybe about 2 to 3 years later, I would say I was uh about 18, 19. We started recording, me and my brother, out of
Nice.
a closet,
Wow.
microphone hanging off the door.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, and like that's when we start recording music, and we were so proud to hear ourselves, and it was awful. I'm glad I can't find it. It took some years to develop.
Yeah,
I put a lot of years in
yeah,
to develop before I would release music, just recording, taking myself like a musical boot camp.
that's
You
awesome.
know, so I did that. Just experimenting and finding myself. So
I love
yeah.
that. I love that. That's exactly, I mean, I feel the same way when I started doing film. I have so many I was doing VHS tapes, so it kind of tells
Mhm.
you how old I am now. So I was thinking, I was like, yeah, this is some good stuff.
Yeah.
Then you look back on it, you're like, oh my God, what that was. But that again, that's the development of, perfecting your craft and getting better
Right.
at what you do. Because I mean, just getting into your song,
Hmm.
some somehow like I was actually shocked. I don't know what I was into. Like and that's the thing. You should never judge a book by its cover, because I saw your picture and I was like, okay, I'm curious. I'm thinking, one thing going in it, and then I
Yeah.
listened to it. I'm like, I was like floored. I was like, wow, amazing,
I
amazing.
appreciate that.
It was not what I expected, which is awesome in a way as well. And so, tell me a little bit about the process of that, making the song and going in, with like saying, okay, this is going to be the one I'm going to go with.
Uh, first of all, I thank you. Appreciate the love you showing on the record. And initially, that's how I want people to feel.
Yeah,
I don't want you to just me as an artist and where I am in my life, personally and musically. I always want to catch you off guard in the best way possible. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I'm glad it's doing this job, but just the process and get into, like I said, a new stage in my life and where I am as an artist. I just felt like it was time, to make music that really resonates with where I am currently, where I have been recently. You
Mm,
know what I mean, and just deliver it in an original, organic, vulnerable type of way.
yeah. No, and I think, and I was gonna get to that. Like, was it hard to be vulnerable as a man? I mean, females, we hear like there's a lot, and it's not looked down upon. Like I said, it wasn't cool back then to
Hmm.
sing. So being vulnerable and spilling your emotions on, through the pen and putting it out there. Did like, how was it nerve-wracking for you to do?
I never imagined myself being able to do it,
Wow.
and that's what I knew. That's what was holding me back. As an artist, not having so much pride, like you said, me as a man, we're so prideful and we're taught to be like that from the time we're little boys, toughen up. Why you crying? So um it took a lot, to like basically like let the world in, on who I really am. You know what I mean? Hence, if you hear my previous music, you can see the change, and it's a lot more to come. So yeah, it was tough. It was very tough.
I think that's great though, because in our community, African American community, I don't think a lot of men are, are show their emotions. I think, the mainstream artists, they like to show like there's a certain topic, and there's nothing wrong with talking about those topics.
Right.
There's a time and a place for everything. But I feel like it's really refreshing to hear, you know, um, a black man sharing his emotions and being vulnerable. And it's like, and it's a safe space, and people
Yeah.
can receive that. So kudos to you for doing that and sharing your heart with people on on this record. That's, I mean, it's great. Loved it.
I appreciate that. You know what I mean? I really do. Because like you said, it's not it's something that's, quote unquote frowned upon, but um, everywhere all dealing with something uh dramatic at one point in time in our lives, some obstacle we're going through, so whether that relates to you as a person, or something you're dealing with, a substance, anything, I think it needs to be talked about.
Do you feel like the music, being vulnerable was therapeutic for you? The process for you, was it healing?
Yeah, it was very healing because I'm not really, I don't talk about, things like that. You know what I mean? There's stuff that I talk about with myself, and to let it out. And through my music, it's like I can talk about it without having to, actually talk about it. You know what I mean? It's like like a audio diary, you know. So yeah, for sure. It was it was very therapeutic. You know what I mean? I loved it.
That is great. I was gonna say, this. I know the music. This song is about leaving a relationship, and I was gonna ask, like, how do you know when it's time to leave a relationship and when the relationship's over?
When you always know. You know what I mean? If you listen to that voice in your head and going through the same thing over and over, you can only try so much. And if you keep running to those same dead ends, you're not receiving what you're giving. You know when it's time. You know what I mean? And that can be, like I said, that song is definitely, about relationships, but if you listen closely, it's about anything that's keeping you from going to that next level with your life.
Absolutely, and that can be, like you said, that, and I think that's super key for anybody, men and women. I think everyone can take something out from this, is because you're right. A relationship can hold you back, or it doesn't have to be. It could be any relationship. um, so
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. So that's exactly what I'm glad you're understanding the message. You know what I mean? And it's like been discussing, it's important for that to get out there. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate, how you're receiving it and how other people have been receiving it. So I'm really happy and anxious to see, where the record goes.
That's awesome. I'm very excited for you. I mean, I think it's it has a fun sound, and it can go a lot of places. So kudos to you. I was gonna say, so I have love asking this question. There's no wrong answer. But the
Mhm.
three levels of influence: money, power, or respect. And if you could choose one of those things, which one would you choose and
Uh, I would choose. I only can choose one.
just one?
I, I would choose respect, and the reason why I would choose respect is, of course, we all need money to live and money to survive, but money is can always be replaced, and it always will be replaced. You know what I mean? We can attract that. There's something easy. And power comes with respect. When people respect you, they love you. With respect, you have solid relationships that can bring the money and the power. You know what I mean? So I would take the respect.
I like that answer. That's a good answer. Um, what keeps you going during tough times? Like I think we all go through those moments of like uncertainty in our journey. Like I know I've had many of them.
Yeah.
But what keeps you kind of going to continue to pursue the things that you do?
Uh, Honestly, I pray a lot. You know what I mean? That helps. Always keeps me grounded. Whether I'm, doing living quote unquote the way I'm supposed to or not. I always try to keep my relationship with God pure. You know what I mean? And pray because I make a lot of mistakes. All the time, every day. You know what I mean? So that always, keeps me, focused to keep going, and also just the people around me who I've lost, people that have kind of lost their way, and seeing that, you know what I mean, it motivates me to never, go that way. You know what I mean? And I have people that count on me. You know what I mean? It's not all about me. I feel like I'm a real selfless person. So when you have people that are counting on you around you to, push through, it just gives a different meaning.
Yeah, no, it's like it's like the things that you do, it's like put in perspective. Like it's like a lot of people, like you said, are rooting for you and
Hmm.
but I also feel like in our industry that we're in, I think a lot of people do look up to us. I think for me, I'm the baby of the family, and I have a lot of family members that are rooting for me to,
Right,
like not fail. So it's like this
right.
big responsibility over my shoulder. But I remember looking at listen to this quote, and I think it was Oprah or someone like that. They were like,
Hmm.
also don't forget to, make sure you're that you are checking in with self, that you are okay first, that you should be the
Right.
first priority before anyone else should be, because that's real.
It is, and that's so true, and even like my mom has told me that she like, son, you have to always put you first, and it's easier said than done. You know what I mean? And of course, I love myself and I care about myself, but I always have that mentality. I'm good. I can go ahead and push me out the way. I'm fine. You know what I mean? This is where, my attention needs to be, as far as being focused and pushing through and not giving up. That's why my name has so much significance. Johnny PE, pushing every day. That's what you have to do. You see the successful people, anyone thriving, that's what they never gave up. So
And it's literally just that, it's literally watering your seed. And I think we live in a society now that everybody wants this instant gratification and not putting in the work, because it's work to be anywhere at a certain level that you want to, to be in, because if it was that easy, then everyone would do it, right?
exactly. Exactly. And then, it wouldn't be, 15 minutes, so many people with 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like you said, putting in the work. That's why early on I knew when I first started recording, like, man, after hearing it back and playing it in the car around other people, you like, man, this does not sound good. You know what I mean? And but it's about that passion. I was not doing music for anybody else at that point. It was just the passion for it and enjoying it. You know what I
Right.
mean? You have to
Right.
enjoy it and love it, if
You do.
first before anything. So
Yeah. And that's the thing. I can't imagine, like, I think I'm the same way too. When I have something that I create, um, as a I put it out there, it's like out there forever, and I'm just like, oh
hmm.
Lord, I don't
Right.
know what people are gonna think, but it's like it's like having a baby and just releasing it, and then it's like, okay, I'm done. It's over. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to, like, it's out there. But I enjoy the feedback. I really enjoy the feedback. It actually helps me a lot. So
Yeah, for sure. You have to be able to take, criticism. I wouldn't necessarily, of course, constructive criticism, but sometimes you might get criticized, more harshly, and sometimes you may need it. You know what I mean? Because I know I can be stubborn at times. So like that's just like you were saying. I mean, just you have putting in that work, having a passion for it, and just mastering your craft. So I feel like I've done that. So
Oh yeah, you're doing an amazing job. What advice would you give to somebody that wants to get into the business of music? And they want to try it for themselves? Like, what would that look like?
first I would tell them don't go into wanting to be in the music business or be an artist just because you want to get rich. Because if that's the mindset, you in for a rude awakening. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
gonna take some time. You know what I mean? So, develop your craft. That way, if you can, it's not it won't be a such thing as getting a lucky song. You'll have that consistency from that work you put in. So that's what I would say. Have a love for it and keep good people around you.
Oh, that's so important. That's so important. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
I will never. I can't tell you how much, like, in the business of being, film. I remember getting a mentor, and after that, everything, like, my career escalated.
Hmm.
It just changed because someone invested in me and really wants me to thrive. And I think that is so important to have those people around you that are not jealous or that are not
Hmm.
envious of you or have
Right.
hidden agendas, that really just want to see you win. And
Right.
that's a rare thing to find in our business. But when you do find it, hold on to that thing tight. So yeah.
Exactly. It might take you 10 tries. It might take you 20. It might take you two or three. You know what I mean? But just staying focused. You have to keep pushing. You have to consistently push through. And like you said, when you run into that person, like you said, you had an investor or whatnot, you usually reach them at a certain level when you've done a certain amount of work yourself. You know what I mean? So for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You're right. It's worth it. It's consistency and then keeping the right people around you. I love asking this question. If you could
Mhm.
perform with any music artist, living or dead, who would you choose and why? Only one.
Ooh,
I know.
man, that
Tough.
is
That's a
so tough. Like, because you have the respect for the current artists,
right.
like your Chris Browns, and then you have, of course, the King of Pop, and man,
Tough.
that's a tough one. Uh, I would probably say, I would probably say, I'll probably say Michael
Oh yeah.
Jackson. Like, come on now. Come
That's a
on there.
good one.
Like I was spoon fed, his craft and his music for so many years because my family, they were just uncles and stuff were been big fans of him. They still play him to this day. So
Oh,
just being
yeah.
exposed to that level of greatness,
It's
imagine being on
crazy.
stage with him.
I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, I don't know. I'm not worthy. I can't look at you. Like,
Yeah.
because it makes you kind of think, like, how does someone achieve such level? And I don't think you will see that again.
No,
Not with us, you know.
not to that extent. Definitely not. When you're talking about mastering your craft, like that is the prime example. So yeah, you're right. It would be crazy, but I would be ready though.
Yeah. I,
I'll be ready. I'll be in my pocket for sure.
right. I think people were just shocked that a African American man could achieve so much. I mean,
Hmm.
the man was a very powerful man,
Yeah,
powerful guy. Um, and working at that level. I mean, you really that's I guess you have to really breathe music, live it, breathe it,
for
like it's
sure.
in your everyday. And yeah, so
Yeah,
I
for
don't know.
sure.
I don't know, but hey, he has the blueprint for sure.
That's what I'm saying. You have to start with the top.
Definitely. Okay, a fun one. Last question. I promise I won't bore you anymore. But
Oh, you're good. Get bored at all.
if when when your work is done and leave, have you get to heaven and you
Hmm.
meet God, what do you want God to say about your work that you've done?
Uh, Man, that's a deep question, and I do often think about that. Um, like I said, because grew up in a religious household, and later on, after bumping my head so many times, I gained my own relationship. So I just would want him to be, proud of the people I've saved. You know what I mean? And I mean that ties in with the music I'm making now. It has more of a meaningful purpose. I'm
I love
in my
that.
purpose. I'm living in that. So
Yeah, definitely. That's beautiful. Is there anything coming up that you have that you like to share? Any shows, any new music? What's coming up for you next?
yeah, I definitely have some new music, lined up. This song is still like what 7 days out,
All
so
right.
they're about to hear this somehow, and while they're living with that, I definitely invite the people because me and my team were just talking about this. Um, it gives like an emo trap feel,
I
but
love that though.
but
It's so
yeah, you know what
good.
I mean. But I want the people to decide what they think it is, how they feel about it,
Mm,
what they would label it as. That's really what I want to challenge the people to do. And besides that, I have a new song that will be following up called Changes. Very, very powerful. Um, Even getting more vulnerable on this record. If that could even be done, just opening all the way up on who I am. So very excited about that new song coming as well to follow this.
awesome. Where can people find you on social media for all the things that you have coming up?
You can find me on Instagram at it's Johnny P. That's ITS Johnny JOHNNYPE. Um, and that's really all I'm on right now. You know what I mean? I'm kind of in my shell, crafting, releasing, putting out music. I know social media is important, but you can find me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube as well. So
Oh, you're on YouTube. Okay. All right. Go to
yeah,
YouTube, guys. Subscribe, follow, support, and all of
yes.
that. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a pleasure talking to you and getting to know a little bit more about your story. And, just I wish you all the best. Definitely come back in the future.
I really appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Definitely, definitely. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.